Me and the boys were sitting around drinking, we was talking about things that we was thinking, when all of a sudden what comes out of Bill's mouth? Said I'm getting old and fat and slow, and I don't recover like I did before from nights of rabble, rousing and too much fun. Well, I looked around and we all agreed, and I had a drink and I ordered 3, and I staggered back to do it all again. And we made an oath on a rum and coke with the best intention, I'm sure you know, that we would stop this living in excess. We're gonna have one more party, one more special occasion. Do it Mondays, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, Thursdays, holidays and weekends. We can have one more party. There's more hell we should be raising. One more party now, one more.
G'day, on today's episode of Garage Beers, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be attaching a hitch onto my snowmobile. Now, because I do like to go fishing, I don't like falling through the ice, and sometimes I also don't like getting stuck on the ice. So this year we're going to be using the sled a lot more often. We have a really nice toboggan, and you know, it's not too bad I used to have a smaller one. The wife, she planted a bunch of trees in it and thoroughly wrecked it. So she made up for it, bought me a really nice one that's meant to be pulled behind a snowmobile. I can tell you that if you are going to be hauling anything behind a snowmobile, get a toboggan that's meant for it. I went on a fishing trip once where we just kind of had the little one and tied it on. It just kind of sways all over the place, left and right. It spins, it topples, bad stuff happens. Your heater gets wrecked when you're on the trip, and therefore when you're in the pop-up and it's minus holy crap outside and you're freezing because you have no heater, yeah, get a real toboggan. You can do it otherwise, just make sure, you know, you're going slow, it's nice terrain, and if you're going on like an actual big long trip, those, not really an option. So here's what I kind of did. So we just got the good old 99 Skidoo MXZ 600. It's not meant for pulling anything great. It's not like meant for pulling, but for the lightweights we are going to be doing, it's going to be just fine. So I'm going to be using that stock bumper there. If you are going to be pulling anything heavy, big loads of wood, stuff like that, 1, make sure you have a sled that can handle it. 2, make sure you have a bumper that can handle it. Like this, it's literally just kind of, as far as I know, just kind of attaching to there. When I do lift to get it off the trailer or anything, you can feel a little bit of wiggle, so you know it's not meant for anything severe. I haven't been able to find any actual ratings on it, so I don't know what's actually rated for, if anything besides lifting ass end of sled up. But this is what we're going to be using. What I ended up picking up is this little guy. It's a universal mount. It's got the little floppy dinger here so that your sled goes onto that when it's on the back there. So this way the sled can articulate up and down. You don't want anything solid, because the sled's going to be going up and down, the toboggan's going to be going up and down. I did get this because it's about 20 bucks. The next step up is to literally replace that rear bumper. It's going to be a lot more solid, attached to the frame, stuff like that. But we're going to see if we can get this attached. And I'll show you some of the problems I already found out as I was monkeying around. So it goes on there, but as you can see, those holes, it doesn't go far enough back. And so since I don't want to drill into this, this just seems like it's not, I mean, it's only got so much structural support as it is. Last thing I want to do is start compromising it by drilling holes into it. So my one thought was, what if I got some U-bolts, put it around over there, that pile of crap by that cup there, there's some U-bolts. The problem is, they would go too far back and hit the light. Like, there's not much distance there. And I wanted the rounded end here and the nuts over there. I'll show you what it is, because everything fell down anyways. I'm sure a guy could buy something that would fit anyways, but whatever, I got another idea. And here, I'll set it up on the tripod so I can explain a little better and use my hands. Alright, so as you can see there, what I wanted to do, just have it sit like that. And then I bought this little hook up here, so it's just literally a U-bolt for suspension setup from Princess Auto. And I bought these little shackles so that it would fit on here and around here, just like that. But when I did that, it hits here, huge gap, and so that wasn't going to work. I thought about spinning it the other way around. It would work, but I mean, even with the smallest, now the round end here is going to clamp on, it's going to crimp on the back, and you can't really see from the camera, but I mean, the threads is really not too much. It's going to be cinched right up and still only get it so tight. And the last thing I want is for this to be sliding all the way side to side, jangling around, just because vibration bothers me, and it's in the long run it is gonna kind of mess up your bumper in the back there. So now we're gonna do something that's definitely not most permanent, probably not the most suggested, but I'm gonna take rope, and that's how I'm gonna attach it, because why not? Essentially what I'm gonna do first is I just got this. I was gonna use some sort of paracord, but I have this handy in the garage. I'm gonna wrap it around here, and then so then it's gonna be a nice tight fit for the actual hitch. And then I'm gonna wrap the rope around the hitch, make sure it's nice and tight. I'll show you what I'm gonna do, and if you like it, you can try it. And if not necessarily on this, on other stuff, it will be secure, especially for what I'm gonna be hauling. All right, so what I got is this rope right here. I'm gonna give me a bunch here because I'm gonna need this end to tie off. So make sure I have enough to get all the way across. And then back here. Now I'm just gonna cover, because I got this bend here, that's what I'm gonna wrap around. So I'm gonna do that. And to be honest, it's kind of a huge pain in the butt, but it'll be worth it in the end. I do have a lot of rope. I don't want to take any cuts out of it and just guesstimate, because this is all I got. I really don't feel like driving into town to go get some rope on this Christmas season. Alright, so you can see what I'm doing. Literally just wrap around. I just got it finger tight. You know, it's not crazy tight. I got a bit of tension. And that's what I'll do. I'll tie more up to when I have this all done. Alright, so she's all wrapped around nice. Now, I'll make sure that I follow up this video with it actually working. So this is just here. Now I'm going to want to run it back going across this way. Because I'm essentially going to wrap it again, but just around this guy. But I'm going to want to make sure this doesn't come unraveled. So I'm going to take this end like that, and they're going to help hold each other in theory. So now, as you can see, nice and tight, good to go. Run this along the back. Now, so yeah, no vibration. It's going to hold it nice and pretty like. And now I'm literally going to wrap it all over again. Okay, so I got it around, and it's not too bad. We got about 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, maybe 7 strands of rope holding that. So if you think about it, I don't know what this rope is rated for, but say it's even just 100 pounds. So if I've wrapped it around 7 times, my tomfoolery math, tells me that it's got a 700-pound breaking strength. Whether that's true or not, I don't know. But either way, there's a lot on there. It ain't going to go nowhere. Now, there is the one obvious flaw in this. As it's going up and down, the metal edge here is going to rub against the rope right there. So that is going to be, this clearly cannot be like a super long-term thing. It is something I'm going to have to keep an eye on. But it's going to be a lot cheaper than spending a few $100s, because I'm even having a hard time finding one that does link up with this. What I am going to do is I'm going to wrap this all the way back around the other side, so I just have another layer on there. A little bit of extra security. I got a lot of extra rope. Plus, I want this end over here, so when I tie it onto there. So I'm going to rewrap it once again, just going the other direction. Alright, so next, because I got this down here, or on this side, I'm going to tie it to this. Now the big thing is, I need something, because if I just pull here, it's just eventually going to go across. So I'm going to come back through. This may or may not work. But I basically want it to be locked here, and here's these tight. Because if I just go like pull across, it's not necessarily going to work the way I want it to. So going to go through a couple of them. Now, one quick note, I am doing this, my garage is soaked because we got snow and everything is just horrible right now for coming in the garage. I'm trying to thaw some stuff out. So I do not recommend using wet rope. One, because now I got a whole, like for the actual strength of the rope, it's not nearly as good. It's gonna dry. There's because it's dirty water. You're getting all those little ropes, all the little dirt and stuff in there. That's literally, so as it like moves and flexes, like stretches and contracts, the little stones there are literally gonna act like sandpaper, and it's gonna take down the quality of the rope. As well, now because it is wet, as it's dry, there's a lot more potential for rotting. It's gonna get, it's going to feel just not that great. It's going to have a higher probability of snapping. So I don't recommend that. I want to get out fishing like tomorrow and test this out. So I'm accepting that risk. But other than that, if you're doing something, and you can get away with it and you can avoid it, make sure the rope is definitely, it's clean, it's dry, it's the best way to do it. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to tie it off. I am not a knot guy by any stretch of the word. So there's an old phrase we used to use in the Army, if you can't tie knots, tie lots. But every recce guy, advanced mountain ops guy, helicopter insertion instructor, all the ones that actually rely on knots, they hate that saying. So I don't know if I'm actually going to go ahead and do that. One thing I do like to use is just literally, it's a reef knot. I mean, it's simple, right over left, left, and then left over right, tie, and that holds nice and solid. So I might end up doing that. The other thing that you could end up doing if you want to make it really good and tight is you tie just something like this and you make in and around itself. I'll do real big so you can see. So you would essentially go around and then through, just basically making that loop. You have that over here, and you take this one and you put it through, and then you can just really reef it over, and then tie it off on something else over here, because then it definitely ain't gonna go nowhere. I think I'm just gonna do a reef knot for now, because what I am probably gonna do when this all does dry out is I'm just gonna take some gun tape or like duct tape, and I'll just wrap it around, because then that'll help hold and keep all this together. So I'm gonna go over that way, make sure it's all good and tight. And to be honest, that's gonna be good enough for now. Now when I go ahead and I do cut this, because if I just cut it, it's gonna fray. So I'm gonna cut it, and then I'm gonna melt the end, so that way it's not gonna just all come apart. I don't have my knife on me, but that's what it is. But all in a nutshell, that's kind of what I'm looking at. I'll tape it up, and then I'll go ahead, and after I do my ride, we'll see how well she holds up. Alright, so here's the test of what the actual hitch did with it just being lashed on. Let's have a look. So, it survived. We went on a 2-hour ride, basically some ditch banging, going through some fields along the trails. And you know what? It's not perfectly on there. It's not as tight as it once was. All in all though, it held. The pin, yeah, we lost that a couple times. Obviously it's still there. So I gotta try to find an actual drop pin. I couldn't find one that's actual 3/8 hole, just a 1/2 inch. So I don't want to bore with the hole, so we'll find something new for that. As for the rope though, you know what? If I was to go back and redo it, do it tighter, like it's loose, I'm gonna definitely keep my eye on it, make sure I don't lose it. I think we'll be fine though, just because it'll survive the last trip. It's gonna have to get redone. Permanent solution? Maybe not so much. Maybe if I did a little better, we'll see. So, all in all, you know what? It's great for in a bind. Great for now. If you are going to do it, make sure you do it tight. Make sure you do it with some dry rope too, because that had an effect on it. Being wet and then dried, probably lost a little, like, you know, when the water evaporated, that kind of loosened it up. So that's what I would do. I'm probably going to end up having another look and seeing if I can put it on a little bit better. And just kind of see how it works for the rest of the ride home. We've got another 2 hours to go on the way back. So, other than that though, you know what? For what it is, take what you will from this and go from there. Other than that, that's it for this episode of Garage Beers, and we'll catch you next time.